super tired and bleary-eyed. It's a little after 2 a.m. and I got home maybe 20 minutes ago. It was a 16-hour shift, which is the most that they'll let us do, and they'll only let us do 3 of those a week. But you can do the math, on how many hours that leaves for sleep and everything else. Not a whole lot, and they don't put a limit on 12-hour days. So those happen a lot. It's not the kind of job that you can just say, well, F that. I'm not going to go in, or I'm going to leave after 10 hours, There's never any question of doing the work. It's just a matter of how it leaves you at the end of it. But I didn't sit down to do this when I have very little time to get some shut-eye, with the intent of rambling about long hours. You'll have to forgive me. I'm a little bit cloudy, and that's the truth of it right there, right? It is not through any goodwill on the part of the hospital that they won't allow you to do more than 3/16 in a week. It is because the condition of my brain right now is not conducive to making the kinds of decisions that need to be made in an emergency room. The hospital knows this, and they also know how susceptible they are to lawsuits resulting from poor decision making. And of course, in any kind of a lawsuit like that, shift records are pulled, and that kind of stuff would make for a perfect prosecution. If I had made a poor decision 14 hours into my third or fourth 16-hour day, it would be hard to find fault with anybody but the hospital. So the upshot of that is, occasionally we get to sleep. But anyway, like I said, the actual reason that I wanted to talk to you all before hitting the hay, because I wanted to talk to you about something that a colleague of mine said today that got me thinking. I feel like I work with a lot of smart people. A lot of disparate backgrounds, a lot of very different points of view. Some, very religious people, a fair amount of atheists, myself among them, Buddhists. It runs the gamut. It's one might think, looking in from the outside, that doctors would be, patrons of the hard sciences across all aspects of not just medicine. That's not true, and it's not even true within medicine. Dr. Ben Carver, who's a sort of a famous physician out of Hopkins, is well known for his very strong religious views. He's a pediatric surgeon. There's nobody I'd want performing surgery on my child more than him. But he has some rather interesting views on God and angels and the like. Some of it derived from his direct experiences. So my point is, it is not homogeneous. There's a lot of, we don't have a lot of time to kind of sit around and jaw, in spite of, what Grey's Anatomy might have you think. It's get the work done. And it doesn't end. Right? It's not get the work done so you can take a break. It's get the work done so you can do all this work that's piling up. And you do that, rinse and repeat, until your shift ends. And then you do it again the next day. But there is the occasional downtime. I mean, we have to have some sort of break. And, we do have to eat and that kind of thing. Although, I can't remember the last time an ER physician went to the cafeteria and sat down and ate. It doesn't really work that way. But anyway, so like I said, I was talking to a colleague of mine, and he was telling me about a patient he had just had who had come in. This patient was had been in and out of the hospital with prostate cancer for quite a while, and he was in there again in the ER because of bleeding. Now that's incidental to the story, which is basically, it was about bedside manners, and presenting an air of confidence and knowledge, regardless of the truth or the surety of that knowledge. And my colleague is of the opinion that it is almost as important to present an image of certainty and reliability as it is to be right about a diagnosis. Now, he has reasons why he believes this to be the case, and it's hard for me to fault a lot of what he says, because it's true. It's true that if a patient sees a doctor and that doctor constantly hedges every possible diagnosis, where is the reassurance in that? Time and time again, it has been shown that the doctors who make definitive pronouncements and diagnoses have patients who are more content. And this is regardless of the prognosis of those diagnoses. I'm sorry, I should say patients who are more content with their medical care and with their service provider. Not necessarily more content with their lot in life. And that was sort of the discussion that we were having, which was, I'm of the opinion that doubt should be, I'm of the opinion that cards should be laid on the table. And those cards would include any sort of doubt about a diagnosis or a prognosis. There's sort of a joke about medicine in that, medicine is very, very good at telling you how you're going to die. And it's not a very funny joke, but the nub of it is that medicine is pretty exhaustive. I mean, there are certainly cases of people who will die, and we can't figure out why. And 9 times out of 10, there is, this goes back to what I was saying before, there is a cause of death put on the death certificate. But the degree of certainty on that cause of death is probably more like 50%. But we certainly do have cases where people will die and we have no idea at all why they're dying. Right now there's this plague of kidney failure occurring in South America amongst sugarcane farmers. Really alarming numbers, something like out of 7,000 men, and I forget exactly where this was. I think it was Chile, but I'm not sure where. Out of 7,000 men, 2,000 of them have developed kidney failure before the age of 50, which is, that's unheard of. There's no doubt that there's something going on either with the pesticides or the location of these sugar plantations or the actual act of harvesting the crops that is causing people's kidneys to fail. But nobody can figure out what it is that's doing it. And it's in everybody's best interest. It's in the companies that pay the people. It's in their best interest because they end up with people that need dialysis, people that are dying, lawsuits. Even if this is the result of some kind of pesticide, a result of the kind of burning that they do to make the harvest easier, soot, any who knows? There's so many, chemicals in the river that they drink from, that the workers drink from. Who knows? But it is in everybody's best interest to find out what is causing this incredibly high percentage of people with kidney failure, but nobody can figure it out. It is shocking. So there are certainly, in the present day, even seemingly, there's nothing, it is not a new virus that's doing this. I suppose it's possible, but it is not likely. This is something mundane. This is something like a mineral in the water or a chemical in the water, something, some kind of toxicity that is, when it is finally discovered, will be run-of-the-mill, but nobody can figure it out. And there's nothing new going on there. So there are certainly, more exotic cases that cannot be deciphered, where we just cannot arrive at, there's just no, everybody throws their hands up. Medicine is an imperfect science, but it generally is pretty good at being able to tell you, this is what is wrong with you. This is why. It is not as good at saying, and here's what we do to cure you. Right? And that's sort of the where the joke comes from of, medicine is good at telling you how you're going to die. Ideally, medicine would be able to stop that. One of the, I'm sure everybody listening to this is familiar with The Onion, which is sort of a satirical online publication. One of my favorite headlines that I ever saw from them was something like, world death rate holding steady at 100%. It's an inevitable truth, and I found it darkly comic, which should be, because it's in The Onion. But the point is, medicine is better at telling you what is wrong with you, and we still have a long way to go to get to the point where we can fix what is wrong with you. Lots of treatments, lots of putting off the inevitable, slowing the progression, but not as many cures as we would like. So, with that in mind, I can understand, from the point of view of being a patient, I would want to know what was wrong with me, regardless of the prognosis. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why, if I was told I was going to die in a week, wouldn't my life have been better if no one had told me? Because what am I going to do in that week? It's not going to be a good week. It's going to be horrible. But maybe it would give me the opportunity to do things that I wouldn't have done otherwise. I might have frittered that week away if I didn't know the importance of those days. And the truth is, we should be living as if every one of our weeks is our last week to some extent. But that would mean everyone would quit their job and take a trip to Europe, or personal responsibility would fall by the wayside, and there would be mass chaos. Wouldn't work out, so forget I just said that. But the truth is, I would like to know, regardless of how dire the prognosis was, I would like to know. I don't want to be lied to. By the same token, I don't want to be lied to. Is the gets to the heart of it, because if a doctor is presenting a front to his or her patient of immutable knowledge of this is the truth and this is the way things are, when really, and they are aware that they're doing this, when really in their head it's more of a, well, I'm pretty sure it's this. Maybe it's not, but I'm not gonna present this information to you that way, because I don't want you to think that I don't want there to be any waffling. I think we just need to play the odds on this. And there's a lot of medical data that would back up those kinds of judgments. If there's a 70% chance that you have a particular disease, actually, it's a little higher than that. If there's I think it's somewhere between 70 and 80% chance that you have a given disease that has a proven treatment, regardless of the side effects of that treatment, the medical community will prescribe the treatment, even if it has deleterious effects. So basically, that's the threshold that the medical practitioner needs to reach for basically telling you, hey, you definitely have this thing. It's really, there's an 80% chance that you have this thing. And that is why second opinions are very important. Biology is difficult, and medicine is fuzzy in a lot of ways. But I just believe in having all the information presented. People are smart. They may not always appear that way or act that way. But I've stumbled across surprising depth so many times that I've long ago stopped feeling like I can judge anybody or have an inkling of what people think before they fall asleep. I think presented with the information, most people will make the correct choice, but it should be their choice. Even if they make the incorrect one, that choice should be theirs. It just kind of struck me today, and I was mulling the idea as I did my rounds and went from patient to patient, got my hands dirty. But it's worth knowing when you receive a diagnosis, it is not a cliche. You should get a second opinion. And you should ask as many questions as you can. And regardless of what medical practitioners will tell you, they call it Googleitis, right? If you are a hypochondriac with internet access, you could have reams of paper of your possible diseases that you think you might have. And, time is important to doctors, of course, and we can't sit there and kind of talk you down from every ledge of hypochondriasis, but you do need to do your research, and it is incumbent upon you. You are your own best advocate, and one of the reasons why married people have a longer life expectancy than single people is if you are ever in a position where you cannot make decisions for yourself, you need a strong advocate. You need somebody who is proactively trying to find out the best method and not just assuming that the doctors know, because they make mistakes and they are sometimes very, very tired, like I am right now. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Hope you all stay well, and I'll talk to you again soon. Good night.